no, none of us actually thought we were going to be imprisoned. And so now, when it comes to the 8 years imprisonment, it's an 8-year sentence with 3 years suspended. So how that works is that from that 8 years, I have to do 5 years. We were not expecting that. We were not expecting that because we were under the impression that should I plead guilty, I'm going to get either house arrest or community service. But no jail sentence, no jail time. And then on the day when I went to court, actually, I thought I was actually going to be appearing for just another court appearance, possible postponement again. And then I was sentenced. I literally was sentenced and I left my apartment just a mess. And because I really was not expecting to be sentenced to jail on that particular day. But anyway, nonetheless, then it happened. The reality of it all sunk in when I entered Sun City. You understand? When I entered Sun City, that's when everything was just... That's when I became emotional, man. That's when all the emotions... Because honestly speaking, I was too scared to even think properly. You know, I was too scared to even formulate my thoughts. The only thing on my mind for the longest time was how do I actually communicate and tell my parents what is going on, because I didn't have a phone. So when I got there and I asked to make a phone call, I remember I couldn't make a phone call. I don't remember the exact reasons why, but I couldn't make a phone call. And so eventually my parents found out that I was in prison because the lawyers told them. And well, eventually he told them. And then, yeah, man, that was a tough time, man. That was a tough time. They took my clothes and they put them somewhere in storage. I didn't have sheets. I didn't have any resources. And so now you can imagine with the impression of prison that you have from all the things that you hear about prison. And I'm thinking, I can't ask anyone here for assistance. I can't ask anyone here for assistance or for help, and at the same time I can't reach my parents, I can't reach anyone for actually letting them know what is going on. And so for the first night I slept just literally on a sponge, which is about this thick, on a steel frame. Yeah, what they call it, a scaffold. And then yeah, that was heavy, man. That was heavy. I didn't stay long in Sun City. Honestly speaking, that period of time was just too traumatic for me to actually be able to explain what was going on in my mind. And then I was drafted. When I was drafted, I was then drafted to Louis Corp, which is here in Sandton. That was even worse. Because literally when I walk in, you hear all this noise, you know, it's just, I mean, there was noise in Sun City, but then Louis Corp was just even worse. And then you see these hands and feet sticking out from the windows and from the cages and from the bars and the grills. And it's just chaos, man. It's just chaos, 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 chaos. I still didn't have any sheet or any, like, resources, if that's the word I can use. And then I was given food, so you literally get pap, some cabbage, and then a small piece of meat, and then taken to my cell. I was given my sponge and then taken to my cell. That was heavy, you know. That was heavy. You smell it, you hear it, you feel it, you know. And everyone is just you know what I mean? And it's just chaos, man. And then after this, you walk into your cell, and then you think to yourself, so this is my home. Yeah, well, this is my home. I still have flashbacks. I was actually telling my uncle here that I still have flashbacks where literally, sometimes I literally need to stop and actually just allow myself to just come back, because sometimes I don't even know how to explain it, but it's as though my mind literally puts me there. You understand? Like triggers will literally just put me there for like a split second, and everything will change literally in the room in itself or within the space that I'm in. May it be outside for a second, I'll be in the courtyard. May it be in my room for a second, I'll be laying not on my bed but on the scaffold, and I'll be looking at the ceiling in itself. It's triggers, you know what I mean? It's triggers that just literally put me back there in an instant. And so, yeah, I still have those flashbacks. I still have those flashbacks. That environment is an environment that literally challenges the mind on so many levels. So it tests you emotionally, it tests you physically, it tests you psychologically. I'm sure you've heard the stories about gangsterisms and all that stuff, right? So there is no peace in that environment, because constantly you have someone coming to you with a certain motive and a certain agenda, and you have traps. You understand? I don't even know if that's the correct word. Traps which and it at the usatagi, where you don't even know how to read prison, you don't even know how to understand prison. And so you have so many individuals who are wanting to take advantage of that. And so you have challenges that are just thrown at you without you even knowing it. You experience things that are so violent. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical, you understand? But it hits you because it almost literally destroys you, and it almost literally breaks you down. I don't know how many nights where I just cried underneath the sheet. Literally, you cover yourself up because you don't want to be seen that you just cannot handle what it is that you're actually going through, you know. And so, yeah, man, you eventually you adjust. But in order for you to adjust, you literally need to become someone else. You literally need to change. You understand? No, I didn't join a gang. But they try, though. They try to recruit you. They try so many times, in so many ways. That's another thing that you actually realize with prison. There's a whole lot of inactivity. So you wake up, for example, at 5 in the morning. And then there's depending on which section you are in. Then there's breakfast, which is your porridge. And then either they close you up the whole day, or you're open to let you guys walk around the courtyard. And the only thing that you are constantly always dealing with is your immediate space. That's the only thing that you're constantly dealing with. And so midday, around 1, 2, somewhere there, you get your second meal of the day, which is accompanied with 5 sly, and then afterwards that's it. And so that is repetitive. The sound of that door, it's kind of like that whole entire environment. It just plays on your psychology. It just plays on your psychology because literally you look forward to them closing you in, because it signifies that, okay, sharp, this day is over. Now I'm gonna face the next day, and you never know what it is that you're gonna face on a day-to-day basis, man, because prison changes just like that, you know. 1 minute you're just laying there minding your own business, the next thing there's a stabbing. 1 minute you're just laying there minding your own business, next thing you know, someone is getting hit on the head. 1 minute you're walking in line to go get your food, and someone behind you, in front of you, is now they're fighting. Now all of a sudden, you know, 1 minute you're walking through the courtyard, and next thing you know, there breaks out a prison war or something like that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's why I couldn't be inactive for too long. So I took up teaching, right? So I took up teaching, and then I joined this organization called the PMC, which is Prison Management Committee. So they stand up for prisoners' rights, you understand? Because I mean, there were days when our rations certain rations wouldn't arrive, for example. And so we would stand up against that. So there were days when we would actually raise the issue of malnutrition, and we were fighting against the fact that we need at least proper, decent food to actually sustain and the body so we can have proper nutrition. And yeah, teaching English was a very interesting journey, because you realize just how uneducated a large majority of individuals are here in prison. And then that makes you question what it is that this facility in itself is doing to actually correct that, you understand? I mean, I would actually understand if they actually made education mandatory and if they made it compulsory. That would actually be understandable, because it's unexplainable to have grown men who can't even write a sentence, and yet they are father to 2 kids, or you understand what I'm saying? How is that person going to come out and actually empower themselves within society? How are they going to come out as rehabilitated individual? So those are the things that I was trying to actually, within my capabilities, not only me, other individuals as well, help change, because you have inmates teaching inmates. At first, I didn't really want to tell anyone, because you don't know what kind of attention that will bring. And then eventually when it starts spreading, because it spreads like wildfire, when it starts like spreading, then you realize that you were actually correct to have the certain fear that you had, because there's definitely some negativity that comes with it. But at the same time, you have individuals who would come to you and say thank you. Because of your collective efforts, we acknowledge the fact that you are fighting for our children, you understand, and you are fighting for us, essentially. And so you also realize that certain individuals actually want to protect you from that space in itself, and from other particular individuals as well. So yeah, so I did see the positives and the negatives, experience the positive and the negatives of people knowing why it is that I was arrested and what it is that actually landed me up in prison. And the political influences and the visits and from other individuals I don't even know, civil society as well, that helped immensely. Look, there's nothing that could have been done differently, because had we done things differently, the question is, would we have had the outcome that we had? And what killed our movement was the declaration of free education. That's what killed our movement, because now we were telling ourselves that, okay, we've achieved what it is that we wanted, neglecting to actually follow up and actually see that not only is it declared, but it's also implemented. But at the same time, it also, look, Fizz Must Fall changed the way we see society, man. And I think it changed the way society sees leadership as well. So now, that's a good thing, That's a good thing, because at the same time, it also shows that as individuals, I mean, that's another thing that we should have seen, actually, that as individuals united, we actually have the power. You understand? We have so much power. We literally brought the country to a standstill. You understand? And then our failure was understanding their tactics. That was our failure. Too much in-house fighting, too many in-house politics, too many things that were actually dividing us as individuals, though we were actually standing united against one cause. And all of those were actually influences that were filtered in and thrown in via the state, using state intelligence, for example. Leaders selling out, for example. And so there's nothing that I could have done differently. There's nothing that we could have done differently, because at the same time, I think, like in life, man, everything happens for a reason, So I think we need to take the lessons that we've learned from that and then apply those lessons into society, because we can never view anything the same ever again. There were many examples. You know, there were many examples, individuals who were banned from their institutions, individuals who were subjected to house arrest. And so, look, if what happened to me was just and fair, due to the incidents that happened on that particular day, you understand, a whole lot more people should have been in prison, if we're actually honest. But that didn't happen. So they definitely wanted to make an example out of me, you know. And so, because I mean, there were many individuals who had far worse charges than me and they were acquitted. There were individuals who had exactly the same charges than me and they were acquitted. But I think they were looking for specific individuals to actually make examples of, individuals who don't have the power to necessarily defend themselves, to actually make examples of. And so, they definitely made an example of us to actually deter other students. And actually, because I mean, I'll speak to a student about being politically active and they'll tell you that, hey, I don't want to go to prison.